This is our elderberry bush. It's looking a lot better, and it's got a new growth shooting off of it. All kinds of little flowers starting. Super stoked. And the raspberries are doing amazing as well. And so are all of the, what most people would consider weeds growing around the edges of the box. But we made a decision that we're not going to get rid of any of the weeds in the yard. Particularly if they're edible or medicinal in any way like that. We're just not going to get rid of them. We have large areas of the yard where grass isn't growing. We're pretty sure it's a Japanese grub issue that we're hoping to take care of this year with all of the nematodes and things we've introduced to the soil. But we're kind of okay with just letting a good majority of these weeds take over. Because like I said, most of them can be used for medicinal purposes or edible. I did spread clover seed and organic dandelion seed in the yard as well, so hoping to get plenty of that growing so I can make jellies and dry some for tea and, you know, so on and so forth. And our garden beds, they're doing so good. Everything is growing quite nicely. I treated with neem oil, so a lot of my arugula and my mustard greens and like my radishes over there that were getting just demolished by flea beetles are now recovering. There's a couple that didn't survive the flea beetles, but there's a bunch that have just recovered beautifully. So yeah, quite happy about that. In fact, I see one right there, a little flea beetle right there. So I'm going to have to treat again tonight with neem oil, and that's okay. It's not like it's really all that big of a deal. Marigolds are reblooming. Tomatoes over here are doing great. My carrots are coming in quite nicely. I did just fertilize with a granular fertilizer, so a lot of this, like, I don't know, green looking mess that's in here is actually fertilizer that was added. But carrots are doing awesome. These are my radishes. I got China rose radishes through here. These are French breakfast radishes. And then, you know, like carrots and turnips and everything's all kind of just mixed in. But the radishes are just going nuts. Oh, I think we might have one that's ready. Look at that. That's how you know a radish is ready to be pulled. When the top of the radish starts, you see like here, starts peeking up above the soil, then it's usually okay to go ahead and pull them. And this is a French breakfast radish, so this is really about as big as they get that I've ever seen anyway when I've grown them. I don't see any of these radishes being ready to pull just yet. I'm really excited because these French breakfast radishes are really the only ones that I've ever grown in the past, and I really like them. They're really tasty, but I planted quite a few other varieties through here, so I'm interested to see the difference in taste with the other radishes. Everything looks so beautiful. My beets are coming up. All this through here is a couple different kinds of beets. I think next time I plant, I'm going to sow the seeds themselves a little bit differently than this time, but you know, you'll kind of learn as you go. Cream cheese over there, sniffing around. My little fingerling potatoes that I planted are coming up. Got one there, got one there, got this one right here is doing great. I'm pretty sure I planted one in the center and one over here, and those haven't come up yet. I don't see, in fact, there's the potato itself right there that I planted. And and I'm not seeing anything come from it, so it's okay. I'm just gonna let it, let it do its thing. I don't see anything in the center, so maybe I didn't plant anything in the middle. Who knows? Ugh. Yep. My ground cherries are starting to do really good. My loofah got kind of meh at the bottom, but I think that's where the leaves were sitting on the soil level, so they were staying wet and weren't drip drying like the top ones, because they just kind of like blanketed the ground around the plant, and those got kind of brown and crispy. But the rest of the plant looks great. All the peppers are looking really good. I just weeded a bunch of this too, so mostly weed free. These are cherry bell radishes, and through here, another variety I've never tried before. I got some onions back there that I got from Michigan. Acorn squashes are finally starting to catch up. The butternuts are looking great. But here's where I really wanted to show you guys. These tomatoes and basil over here are doing great. But look at my spaghetti squash. It's quite heavy too. I'm gonna have to go get some of my little netting thingies to tie it up. And I got all kinds of other babies starting, like everywhere. It was just watering and there was like bees all in the flowers. So that was super exciting. There's another one right there. Another one over there. Ooh. Right there. Just got a butt ton of them. I'm gonna have to come out here and start tying them up the trellis as well. This side, again, just fertilized, so I'm hoping my little watermelon right there will kind of pull out of the funk it's in. If it doesn't, oh well. Me and Mark don't really care for watermelon, so it's okay if it dies. Cucamelons are just doing awesome. The beans are starting to look really good. Some of them are starting to get, especially the ones over there, they're starting to get little buds starting on them, so that's exciting. Cabbages are looking pretty okay. They got a little bit of damage. Pretty sure more flea beetles, so I'm gonna have to treat those. Carrots that I planted over here are doing quite well. Cabbages are still doing awesome and huge. They probably won't head completely this year just because it's already as warm as it is. But I got a couple that are creating quite decent sized heads as they go on, so I'm just gonna let them keep going. If they bolt, they bolt. If they don't, then I'm gonna just cut all these leaves and make sauerkraut or something from them, or make ferments to go back into the garden. Corn is still just doing amazing. Peas are dying off because it's obviously too warm for peas, and that's okay too, because I started a bunch inside, but I got some that are coming, that are growing. This loofah is doing quite well. It's kind of folded over a little bit, so it's actually a lot larger than it appears, but see if I can't get it to start hugging on to this wire. There we go. Maybe it'll stay there and start growing up in that direction. I can hope. And then this is one of my pumpkin plants, and it's got a pumpkin. And this one I have been actively training it to go up. But it's doing freaking amazing. The beans are doing great next to it, but this is starting to get quite large. So I'm trying to get it to grow up instead of out. These cabbages over here are really big. My Swiss chard just kind of took off and started getting real big too, so I'm real excited about that. I don't see any onions or any peppers. I direct sowed some pepper seeds in here too, just to kind of take up space. so I could get these beds filled in. That marigold I thought was a goner, but it rebloomed, so I'm super happy. The yard-long beans kind of stopped growing, which they were part of the reason I went ahead and went out and got some organic fertilizer. I didn't want to just put Miracle-Gro in the garden, so I went and got organic fertilizer, so we'll see how that does. I got freaking little baby pumpkins everywhere. There's another baby pumpkin right there. This is actually two separate plants. There's a plant right here and a plant right there, but they both seem to be coming together, which is great. Yeah, I'm gonna have to get some ties out here. Tie this stuff up. It's just nuts. And that marigold over there rebloomed too. Oh, and I got my melons that I direct sowed. These are honey rocks. These are heart of golds. My Rocky Ford green flesh, which I planted right here, has not sprouted. So I think it's safe to say that it's not coming up. This is banana melons, and those are tiger melons. So I'm excited to see those come up. Oh, look, I got a bunch more little buds starting on my miracle plant. That's exciting. So yeah, and there you have it. That's our garden. It's doing really, really well. Mark's gonna build me some more beds. We're gonna establish an asparagus bed. Not quite sure where yet, but somewhere. We're gonna establish an asparagus bed and an onion bed and a garlic bed. Probably have him make me one specifically for herbs. Yeah, so I will post another update probably next week, same time. Give this fertilizer a little bit of time to do its thing. So yeah,